I've been driving freight for over 20 years, most of it through lonely stretches of the Midwest. Snow, ice, black ice, I've faced it all. You build a gut over time, a sort of radar for things that don't feel right. That night in December 2019, it was the only time I ever truly felt afraid inside my rig. Not just spooked, I mean hunted. I was running a route from Billings down to Omaha, hauling livestock feed. It was late, sometime past 1 a.m., and a brutal snowstorm had picked up over the Black Hills. Visibility was shot to hell. Wipers couldn't keep up, and even with chains on the tires, the roads were skating rinks. I figured I'd make it to Rapid City, pull in the rest stop just east of town, and ride the storm out for a few hours. I'd been to that rest area before. Typical I-90 spot, vending machines, a row of semis idling, and usually a few unlucky folks sleeping in their cars. But that night, it was empty. Not a single cab, but mine. That should have been the first red flag. In weather like that, truckers hole up quick. Yet I had the place to myself. I parked, shut the rig down, left the sleeper heater running, and leaned back with a protein bar and black coffee. The world outside was silent, white, and unforgiving. I remember watching the snow pile up on my windshield, just trying to shake that weird tension in my gut. About 20 minutes in, I heard it, tap, 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 a knock on the passenger door. At first, I thought it was ice falling from the trailer roof. But then it came again, more deliberate. I leaned forward and peered through the frosted glass. A girl, maybe 17, 18, stood there in a hoodie and jeans, hair wet and plastered to her face. No cold, no gloves, just sneakers, soaked and red from the cold. Her breath fogged up the window as she mouthed, "Please." I hesitated. You'd think instinct would be to open the door immediately. But there was something in her eyes that held me back. Not fear, not desperation, more like calculation. I cracked the window an inch. "You okay, miss?" I asked. She blinked like she hadn't expected me to speak. "Please," she said again. "He's coming. I don't know where to go. I've been running for hours." "Who's coming?" She looked behind her. "I can't explain. Please, I'll freeze out here." Every trucker's heard horror stories about setups. Bait-and-lure tactics where a young girl distracts you while someone else creeps up behind. But still, what if she was telling the truth? I told her, "You can wait in the cab, but you stay visible, got it?" She nodded furiously, hugging herself. I unlocked the door and helped her in. The heater hit her like a wave. She shivered violently, mumbling "thank you" over and over. I handed her a blanket and a bottle of water. She didn't say much after that, just sat there, staring out the windshield, eyes darting toward the tree line. "What's your name?" I asked. She hesitated. "Sarah, you got ID?" She shook her head. "He took everything." "Who's he?" She didn't answer, just started crying. Real or not, I couldn't tell. I offered to call Highway Patrol. She nearly jumped out her skin. "No, don't. He's not. He's not normal. He'll hear it." Now that sent a chill down my back. We sat in silence for a while. I noticed she never took her hands out of her sleeves, never removed her shoes. And she kept shifting, like she was listening for something I couldn't hear. I just reached for my phone to text dispatch when something slammed against the side of the trailer. Boom. The whole rig rocked. I jumped, knocking over my coffee. "What the hell was that?" Sarah screamed and ducked down. "It's him. Don't go out there." I reached under the seat and grabbed my flashlight. "Stay here." I jumped down into the snow and circled around the trailer. The wind screamed and snow blasted sideways like needles. My boots crunched loudly in the powder. I checked the tires, the landing gear, the trailer locks. Nothing. No footprints either, not even mine. The snow was falling too hard, covering everything instantly. As I came back around, something caught my eye under the trailer. A dark shape, not moving. I crouched, heart hammering. It was a boot. Someone was lying under my trailer. "Hey," I shouted. "You better show yourself." No response. I ran back to the cab, and the girl was gone. Door wide open, blanket on the floor, my cab light swinging, but no Sarah. Then I saw it, handprints, on the inside of the windshield, but they were upside down, as if she'd been pressing against the glass with her back to me, not sitting, crawling. My brain screamed trap. I grabbed my keys, locked the cab, and backed away slowly. Then, from under the trailer, I saw it. Not the girl. Him. A man, covered in snow, belly flat to the asphalt, was crawling on his elbows, slow and methodical, dressed in a parka, but his face no expression, blank, eyes locked on mine, never blinking. He didn't run, didn't shout, just kept slithering closer. I got in the cab and locked the door, threw it in gear, chains rattling as the tires clawed for grip. As I pulled away, I glanced in the side mirror. The man stood upright, and beside him, just barely visible through the whiteout, was the girl, smiling, both watching me go. I never stopped in that rest area again. I filed a report with state troopers the next day. They checked, found nothing. No footprints, no girl, no man, no signs of anyone. Just an empty lot, a snowstorm, and tire tracks leading out fast. Maybe they were squatters, meth heads, escaped inmates. But I've seen addicts before. I've seen predators. That night felt like something else. I still dream about her face. The way she whispered, he's coming, like she was glad he was. Like she was never running from him, but ahead of him, leading him to me. Whatever it was, it almost worked. I've been hauling freight across the lower 48 for 26 years. I've seen whiteouts in Montana, twisters tear through the panhandle, and I once outran a firestorm up near Paradise, California. But nothing, not weather, not breakdowns, not even a knife pulled in a rest stop, has ever stuck with me like what happened off Highway 87 just outside New Mexico last spring. They called it a special load. Just one pallet, wrapped up like a Christmas gift, headed from some no-name warehouse in Amarillo to a museum renovation site outside Santa Fe. Museum freight, they said. Fragile but light. No loading dock. Pick it up midnight sharp, no questions asked. Normally, I wouldn't take a job with that many red flags, but fuel prices were up and my regular routes had dried out. So I said yes. One drop. Easy money. The warehouse was in an industrial dead zone. Half the buildings were shuttered, the other half might as well have been. No signage, just a rusted roll-up door and a guy in a reflective vest waiting with a clipboard. No eye contact. No chit-chat. He walked me to the dock, pointed at a single crate wrapped in thick black plastic, and said, "Strap it tight. Don't stop for more than 15 minutes. Whatever you do, keep the cab locked." I laughed, thinking it was some kind of hazmat joke. He didn't. I asked what it was. He looked at the crate and said, "It's just an old exhibit piece. But don't let it see you." I should have walked then. I didn't. By the time I hit the interstate, the crate was secured against the back wall of the trailer. I couldn't shake the feeling I'd just made a mistake. CB chatter was dead. My GPS rerouted me twice for construction, but there wasn't a single barrel or sign on the road. Just me. Miles of dark asphalt. And silence. Around 3 a.m., I pulled off near a fuel stop west of Vaughn, New Mexico. I needed coffee and to drain the tank. 15 minutes, tops. As I came out of the station, I saw something in my side mirror, movement inside my trailer. I froze. I hadn't opened the doors, and I'd locked them with a freight seal. I circled around. The seal was intact, but when I pressed my ear to the door, I heard breathing. Not engine creaks, not cargo shifting, breathing. Slow, human, vet. I told myself I was imagining it. Fatigue, paranoia, too much gas station coffee. I got back in the cab and drove on. But that night, the roads felt wrong. Every so often, I catch a figure standing on a shoulder. Too stiff, too still. Every time I passed one, I'd look in my mirror and it would be gone. After the fourth one, I grabbed the CB. Breaker, breaker. Anyone got eyes on Highway 87 near mile marker 242? Something weird out here. Nothing. Then a voice crackled in. "Get rid of it." I froze. "Say again." The voice came back. Broken. Garbled. "Get rid of it before it wakes up." I floored it. Didn't stop. Didn't blink. Around dawn, I reached a way station just outside Santa Fe. I thought about reporting the whole thing. Calling to check, telling the DOT boys there might be something alive back there. But when I pulled in, it was empty. Abandoned. Not recently, either. Weeds everywhere. Windows boarded. Tire tracks just stopped at the edge of the gravel lot. That's when I noticed the trailer felt lighter. Way lighter. I jumped out, ran to the back, and opened the doors. The crate was gone. Not removed, gone. No marks. No torrency. Not even dust on the floor where it had been. Just one thing left behind. A mannequin arm. Pale, smooth plastic, and freshly smeared with blood. I shut that door so fast it nearly took off my fingers. Hauled ass back to Amarillo to confront the dispatch. The warehouse. Gone. Torn down. Like it had never been there. That was 6 months ago. Since then, 3 other truckers I know have gone missing on routes through that same stretch. No cargo. No trafe. Just empty rigs parked on dirt pull-offs with the doors swung wide open. Every now and then, I still see them. Those mannequin-like figures on the side of the road. Still as statues. Always watching. Whatever I was hauling that night. It wasn't an exhibit. It was bait. And I think I delivered it right where it wanted to go. They say the worst thing about long-haul trucking is the loneliness. They're wrong. The worst thing is when you realize you're not actually alone out there. When you're hundreds of miles from the nearest human being and something starts whispering into your ear like it's sitting right beside you. My name's Rick Dunham. Been hauling freight for 15 years. I'm not new to strange sights. Weirdos on the CB, creepy hitchhikers, folks who've clearly been living off the grid too long. That's the kind of weird you learn to shake off. But what happened to me between Cheyenne and St. Louis last October, that doesn't shake off. It sinks in, burrows, eats you from the inside. I picked up a load of dry goods from a warehouse outside Cheyenne, Wyoming. The route was clean, I-80 most of the way, cut down to I-70, then straight into Missouri. Dispatch scheduled the drop-off for 5 a.m. sharp, no excuses. The company I was driving for at the time, Red Ridge Logistics, was strict on the clock, but fair with pay. I'd done this route maybe 6 times before. Knew where the decent truck stops were. Knew when to switch over from coffee to energy chews. The night was cold, flat, dry, stars so clear it looked like you could scoop them out of the sky with a snow shovel. Around 1:12 a.m., the phone rang. My personal cell. Now, I don't give that number out to anyone on hauls. Dispatch, maybe, but they've out my work phone. This was different. The screen just showed +000,000,000,000. I should have ignored it. I really should have. But the boredom of open road is a hell of a thing. And curiosity? That's a heavier load than anything I've ever hauled. I answered. There was a burst of static, followed by a flat, genderless voice. "Keep driving, Rick. Do not stop at the next rest area." That's all it said. Calm, unemotional, like it was reading from a script it had memorized perfectly. I was stunned for a second. "Excuse me," I said, laughing nervously. "Is this some kind of prank?" The voice didn't skip a beat. "Do not stop at the next rest area." Then it cut off. Just silence. About 15 minutes later, I saw the sign. Rest area, 1 mile, exit 197. It was one of the newer rest stops. I remembered it from past run. Clean bathrooms, decent vending machines, strong security lighting. Normally, I wouldn't stop unless I really had to, but after that call, something inside me had to see it. Had to know. I exited, rolled down the ramp. The place was mostly empty, just one semi parked way in the back, under a flickering light. And that's when I saw it. It was my truck. Same make, same decals, same exact rust patch on the side of the cab. Same Red Ridge logo scratched on the back bumper. Parked, engine cold, windows fogged. I swear on my life, it was my truck. A perfect copy. But I was sitting inside my truck where I thought I was. I hit the gas and tore back onto the highway. Didn't stop for 2 more hours. At 3:16 a.m., the phone rang again. Same number, same voice. "Good choice, Rick. Now, take the next exit. Park by the Red Barn." I checked the GPS. There was no exit for another 15 miles. But sure enough, one appeared in the distance. An unmarked road. Looked like it hadn't been repaved since the 70s. I don't know why, but I took it. The barn was exactly where the voice said it would be. Weathered, leaning, a red so faded it was practically bone white in the moonlight. A single crow was perched on a weather vane, just staring down at me. That's when I noticed it. Something in the cab had changed. There was a cassette tape sitting on the passenger seat. I didn't own a cassette player, but there it was, one installed under the dash, like it had always been there. My hands moved before I told them to. I popped the tape in. The hiss was the first thing, then my own voice, screaming, begging, gasping for air, then silence, then something breathing, low, animalistic, vet. I shut it off and bolted out of the cab. That's when I saw the footprints, barefoot, too long, too narrow, dragging a trail behind them, like the person was pulling something heavy across gravel. I sprinted to the back of the trailer and cut the seal, swung the doors open. Every pallet was gone. Instead, a second tape recorder sat in the dead center of the trailer floor, playing that same scream on loop. I should have driven off, abandoned the truck right there, and flagged down a state trooper. But something kept me frozen, like gravity had shifted and I was pinned to the road with invisible weights. The phone buzzed again. This time it said, "Unknown application installed." It had no icon, just a black square. I tapped it, and the screen changed to a live feed of the inside of my trailer. Except now, the pallets were back, and someone was standing beside them. No, not someone. Something. It was tall, thin, dressed like a man in a faded uniform, but its limbs bent wrong. Like joints were in the wrong places. Its head twitched, its eyes, solid black like oil, turned toward the camera, and it smiled. They began walking toward the lens. I dropped the phone and floored it. I drove until the sun came up. Didn't stop for gas, for food, for rest. Just drove. Pulled into a way station outside Columbia, Missouri, and turned myself in. Told the officers I'd been hijacked. Made up some story about hallucinogens in the cabin air filter. They ran toxicology. Nothing. Clean as a whistle. Red Ridge Logistics never called again. Neither did dispatch. I never even saw a news report about the missing freight. But the weirdest part? Every few weeks, that plus 000000000 number still calls. Always in the middle of the night. Sometimes I answer, and it's just breathing. Other times, it plays the cassette scream. And once, just once, I heard myself whisper, "You were supposed to take the other exit." My name's Marcus Reed. I've been a trucker for 21 years, mostly cross-country, from the tip of Maine to the belly of Texas and everything in between. I've seen it all: dead deer twitching on the shoulder, hitchhikers who vanish in rearview mirrors, trucks flipped by invisible wind. You name it. But the night I rolled into that way station in Nevada, it was like reality gave up, just folded in on itself. And I swear, whatever lives in that place now, it doesn't understand the human world. It just mimics it. I was running a solo shipment from Portland to Phoenix, hauling vintage HVAC units to a contractor in Maricopa County. The load wasn't heavy, but the wind was brutal that week. Dust storms tearing across the flats like freight trains made of static and sand. I just passed mile marker 441 on I-80, heading southeast past Winnemucca when I saw the sign. Way station ahead, 2 miles, all trucks must enter. It blinked in that standard yellow-orange LED. The station wasn't on my usual routes, but Nevada's weird like that. Way stations appear like pop quizzes. And in this industry, failing to stop is a paycheck killer. So I took the ramp, pulled in slow, and immediately, something felt wrong. The station was too quiet. Not nobody here quiet. I mean the kind of quiet that makes your ears ring. No bugs. No diesel rumble from other rigs. Not even the sound of wind through the chain link fencing. The way house lights were on, flickering like they hadn't been maintained since the Carter administration. The red LED sign above the scale blinked. Stop. Remain in vehicle. I rolled onto the scale and put it in park. Waited. 30 seconds. Nothing. 1 minute. Still nothing. Then the sign changed. Please proceed to inspection bay number 1. I looked around. There was no inspection bay number 1. Just a row of old, rusted garages sealed shut. No lights. No doors open. But I heard something. Faint, metallic. Tick, tick, tick. Like something tapping on the aluminum siding. I opened my window and yelled, "Anyone working tonight?" No answer. Then the cab lights flickered. And my radio, which had been off, suddenly crackled to life. A voice came through. Male. Calm. But hollow, like it was coming from inside a drainage pipe. "Marcus Reed, exit your vehicle and approach Bay 1. I damn near jumped out of my skin. I hadn't given anyone my name. Still, I stepped out, boots crunching on brittle gravel. The inspection garage, previously dark, now glowed faintly from inside. Flickering fluorescent tubes hummed like mosquitoes trapped in glass. I approached slowly, and that's when I saw the shadows moving. Not just mine, there were others. 5 or 6 silhouettes, pacing behind the windows, never quite stepping into full view. Then the garage door groaned and slowly rolled open. Inside was a perfect replica of a modern inspection bay. Clean, organized, but the people waiting inside weren't inspectors. They were drivers, all of them, wearing Red Ridge, Falcon Express, even Old Dominion jackets. But their faces were blank, not emotionless, blank, like someone had erased the details with a smudge tool. They stood in a perfect line, motionless, until one stepped forward. He wore a badge clipped to his jacket. It read, Marcus Reed, Inspector. He looked exactly like me. Exactly, but with pale, featureless skin and dark sockets for eyes. He pointed at me and said, "You're not cleared." Then the doors slammed shut in my face. I turned and ran back to my truck. The station was gone. I mean gone. Just open desert. No scale. No way house. No signage. Even the asphalt had vanished, replaced with dry red dirt. And my truck was still there, engine idling. But the trailer was gone. I climbed in and drove. Didn't care where. Didn't care if I hit a cactus or a gulch or the edge of the damn world. For 2 hours, I just drove. Eventually, I found a gas station in Tonopah and pulled in. The clerk gave me a funny look and asked where my trailer was. I told him it had been stolen. But the truth is, it wasn't stolen. It was taken. 2 weeks later, I got a voicemail from a blocked number. It was my own voice saying, "Inspection failed. Replace subject." That night, I woke up a rest stop in Arizona with mud-caked boots I didn't recognize and grease under my fingernails I didn't remember earning. I was in the cab of a different truck. Same number, same license plate, but the VIN was off. Just one digit, just enough to mean this truck wasn't mine. I quit the road after that, sold the rig, burned the logbooks, deleted every GPS route I ever saved. But every now and then, in the middle of the night, I hear tapping on my apartment window, like fingernails on aluminum. Tick, tick, tick.